Dusty Smith, thought he had the gift of gab. Turns out he's got the gab, but not the gift. So, Dusty Smith, yes, he is still alive, recently took yours truly to task for a video that I made about a list of 100 ways you can kiss the ass of non-binary people because don't they deserve it for being non-binary? And I said, no, not really. No, they don't. My criticism was kind of like, look, I'm all for respecting people, but respect is an individual thing. You know, me and a person who wants to sit there and tell me I am non-binary, and here is what I am all about, and here is how I want to be addressed, and all that stuff. It's up for me and that person to work that shit the fuck out on our own without any intermediary of I am the spokesman for all non-binary people, and here is how you will conduct yourself. No discussion, just this is how it's going to be. And I criticized that list, and Dusty, I guess, had some criticisms of my criticisms. So really, at this point, I am critiquing Dusty's critique of my critique of Vice's critique of cisnormative society. It's pretty fucking convoluted. Probably not worth really following either. But Dusty's buddy Tim Blake showed up at the conversation on Twitter, and he said that I am being a jerk about this, basically, because the list that Vice published is not, trying to control me, as I so foolishly thought it was, but rather it's just trying to teach me how to be a decent human being. But you know what? It does explain a lot, because I thought that the short-lived, only lasted one episode, Gotcha Boys podcast featuring Dusty Smith and Tim Blake and Vadim Newquist, I thought that all fell right the fuck apart after just one episode because of the personality clash between Vadim Newquist and Dusty Smith. But it turns out that that's not the reason. It turns out that Dusty and Tim and Vadim probably saw this article and saw that under way number 92 of how to kiss the ass of non-binary people because they're non-binary, it says explicitly that you should not join a panel or a showcase or a listicle or anything that's all cisgender people. The three of them probably saw this item on the list and realize that they're just making a bunch of cis-normative, in fact, cis-supremacist bullshit. They were committing the kind of bigotry that, Hitler could only dream of. And then they think, oh, well, we're this woke great show. You're not this woke great show. You're a bunch of fucking cis-normative, cis-supremacist, white supremacist, male supremacist garbage is what you are, and they put it into it, and I give them some credit for putting it into it, but I don't think I can forgive them trying to put on such a bigoted and hateful show in the year 2019, when, people of other gender identities that are non-traditional and marginalized, they have a right in 2019 to not even feel the slightest bit uncomfortable with anything that anyone is discussing at any point in time. And clearly, their comfort needs to come above anything else, to the point where we need to act like requests to not take part in a panel without if there's no trans and non-binary people, we need to act like that is just a reasonable request. That's just basic human decency. If someone comes up to you and says, don't ever be on any sort of panel that doesn't include one of my kind of person. Well, what percentage of the population are you? Well, we're less than 1% of the population. But we should be represented on every single panel or showcase or show or TV cast or whatever the fuck. We should always be represented in all of that from now until the end of time, because it's 2019, god damn it, and that's all we ask. And if you refuse, you're a bigot, and you do not have basic human decency, which is apparently something that we're supposed to value. Okay. You know, I know as well as anybody that it's pointless to make this video. I know that Dusty Smith relishes the fact that he's being talked about right now. Because that's, you know, I mean, he's not the smartest guy in the fucking world, but he's smart enough to know that, you know, anybody mentioning his name, anybody talking about him, anybody waxing poetic or philosophical or whatever about Dusty Smith is a good thing for Dusty Smith. He's smart enough to realize that, which is why he did this provocative video where he took me out of context like 500 times to make it seem like I believed shit I don't believe. And so since I know I'm just playing into Dusty's hand and giving Dusty what he wants, I figure I might as well just go all the way with it. Why not? So I want to just, here's what I'm going to do for you, Dusty, because I believe in trying to help out the little guy, and no one's more little than you. So I want to just, without you, I don't want you sweating all day, laboring in the quote mines, trying to find something you can fucking straw man. So let's just give it to you. I'm just gonna give you some statements that you can just go ahead and clip right out and use to your heart's content. You know, it's gonna be stuff I totally don't believe, but you don't care because you're an unethical dickhole. So here we go. I'm just gonna give you a few of them. So here's the first one. Here's number one. You know, guys, non-binary people, I don't even think they should be afforded basic human rights or dignity. I find the notion of their personhood to be absolutely fucking ludicrous. I think it's absurd that a non-binary person would ever expect to be taken seriously by society at large or by me personally. I find them to be a reprehensible and disgusting group of people. And if ever a referendum was proposed wherein we could legalize their public execution, I think I would have to seriously consider supporting such a measure, because my bigotry is that overwhelming. And I am in no way right now being sarcastic or sardonic or facetious or comical or any of those things. I am being 100% serious. I am not being taken out of context by a has-been fucking hack piece of shit. No, that's not happening whatsoever. What is happening is I am stating in no uncertain terms my raging transphobia and my disgusting hatred of the non-binary mongrel scum race, whom I personally despise and whom I advocate for bad things to happen to in a general sense. Okay, so that's one. There's one for you. So let's do another one. Let's do number two. Okay, so this is number two. Dusty Smith, when he told me when we met in person, when he told me with a straight face that he invented the very concept of selling merchandise to a YouTube fan base, when he said that he invented that as a concept, and I expressed dubious sort of disbelief in that statement, I was mistaken. I think that, in fact, he did. He was the very first person to come up with the concept of merchandising t-shirts on YouTube and, in fact, in the world. Also, when Dusty made the claim, once again, face-to-face, that he popularized the entire genre of facial porn and that no one cared about it before, but he, through a series of algorithm manipulations, was able to make facial porn popular and part of the cultural zeitgeist. I do not have even a shred of doubt about the veracity of that statement. I think he was 100% accurate and truthful and forthright when he said that. And also, I'd like to add that I have never met a human being with a larger and more impressive penis than Dusty Smith. It is like a monolith of perfection, ladies and gentlemen. So big, so impressive, so wonderful. All right, so you're definitely going to have fun with that one. I think that's probably good for now. You just use those two. I was going to give you a few more, but they ran a little longer than I thought they would. So I'm just going to kind of give it a rest. But yeah, Dusty, use those to your heart's content. Be sure to put that out there everywhere. Let people know, that I'm this horrible person who hates trans people, because that's totally honest and totally fair. And it's not like you took even a single thing out of context. Oh, well, actually, you know what? Because you took the joke that I was making about making my wife do all the housework and removed the context that made it obvious that it was a joke and tried to play it off like I was being serious. Maybe I'll give you a good misogynistic statement to close things out. So here you go, Dusty. Good misogyny statement. All right, so this is statement number 3. I think that it is beyond dispute that men are vastly superior to women in all ways and regards. Clearly, we are stronger, as well as more intellectually capable. I also feel that a woman's place, if she even has a place at all, is in the kitchen, preparing food and beverages for myself and whoever I choose to invite into the household. She, of course, has no say over any of the guests that come into our abode, nor is she allowed to fraternize with anyone aside from me, because it would be inappropriate, and anything that any woman does to harm my ego in any way, shape, or form, I strictly prohibit with the utmost disregard for their personhood. I think that because I am biologically male, I am a superior being to anyone who is biologically female, and I view all women as my inferiors, regardless of their individual accomplishments or whatever perceived merits society might have bestowed upon them. I am a raging misogynist, and I just despise all women completely and utterly. I think that they're only useful for ejaculating your seed into, and as soon as sex robots become sufficiently advanced that we can no longer tell the difference, I think that women are then completely irrelevant and should probably be phased out of existence. Thank you. All right, so there you go. That's 3 real juicy clips, and you can just cut those right out, slap them on your next video, Dusty, because that's the kind of G you be. All right? Have a good one. There once was a fella named Dusty, whose content got stale and musty. Now he acts woke. But it seems like a joke. Is it? I don't know. It must be.